Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I am your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner operator of Something Wicked Entertainment and Events, and I want to welcome you to our show today. So, what we normally do in our show is we take an individual horror film. Doesn't matter what decade it was made in, doesn't matter what subgenre it is made in, as long as it's a horror movie of some type. And we kind of, me and a guest, take this film and we kind of dissect it. We kind of critique, analyze, and generally have a good conversation about the movie. Now, this movie can be a very popular movie with audiences, general audiences, or horror audiences, or it can be a film that's, well, not so popular and probably not even heard of, such as the sixth or seventh sequel to a Children of the Corn movie, or maybe that that Cloverfield Paradox movie that people want to forget ever happened. But we kind of talk about these type of movies on our show because these are the type of movies that other people don't talk about on their shows. And that's one of the differences between our show and those shows. We like to talk about the films that everyone else isn't talking about. Now, that doesn't mean we won't have fun talking about the Halloween or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The film we're talking about tonight is not either of those. But first of all, I would like to bring out my guest on the show. So before I tell you what movie we're going to be discussing, and that will be Jim Adams. I want to welcome you, Jim, to the show again.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And Jim is like one of my favorite guys to sit down and talk about found footage movies. Now, the movie we're talking about today is one of those type of movies, and it is, and I'm going to say it the way it is actually spelled, and then I'll just say it out the way it says. It is S&Man or Sandman from director J.T. Petty from 2006.
And I'm concerned about this one. you were saying in the intro that we want to have a good conversation about a movie. It's like, I don't know if I can do that with this one, but anyway,
we're gonna see,
because I watched this movie a couple times, and it's going to take a while to recover from that. Sandman. I remember asking you about that. I said, is that just a clever way of saying Sandman? But it also, the reason he writes the title, and I'm going to have to speak this, folks, so try to imagine this in your mind, capital S, ampersand, capital M-A-N, so it's also S&M, man, which has a lot to do with the subject matter of this movie.
It does. It is a very touchy subject, and
it's that.
it's a highly volatile subject matter, not only in films, and those films are discussed
just as a topic. As a topic. Yeah.
But it's also a touchy subject matter in general for anybody, and it's not used too often in actual horror movies.
That's true.
So J.T. Petty, who did the very, very, very indie film "Soft for Digging," which is where I originally heard him from. I actually watched his.
I'm not familiar with that one. I can only imagine.
I like J.T. Petty. Not all of his work.
Okay.
I do like Soft for Digging because it was a different type of movie than I was expecting. I'd read about it. I can't remember in what horror magazine because I read so many horror magazines.
I
read about it and I searched it out. The movie that I absolutely loved that he did was The Burrowers, which I think is freaking brilliant. And
I had heard of that one, and that does sound intriguing.
And then he moved on to doing like Mimic Sentinel, which was the third Mimic film.
And he also did Hellbenders, which he was.
Hellbenders is funny. It's not great, but it is funny. It's much different than this film. In fact, this is this is much different than any other film he's.
This is unlike a lot of films I've ever seen.
Because this film mixes what could be considered a real documentary with that of a kind of fabricated storyline that runs parallel to the documentary that J.T. Petty is doing.
Because he uses real people in this, in some places, and an actor in another place. And he tried to do this as found footage, sort of, but he passed this off as a mockumentary, what I call a mockumentary. And what it has become, sometimes mockumentaries are confused with found footage a lot because a lot of that mockumentary vehicle is used to use found footage, the found footage genre. But this guy created, I mean, the people that have critiqued this film have created a new category for him. And they call this a hoax-amentory. Because a mockumentary, sort of tells you this isn't real. We're pretending it's real, and it's like a real documentary, but it's really not real. But what we're giving you is not real stuff. A hoax-amentory does not do that. He's really trying to hoax us on this thing. I mean, he really wants us to believe this is actual, honest-to-God stuff. And
almost like a borderline snuff film.
Sort of is. Yeah, it is, but it isn't. So, it gives it a very strange quality.
So J.T. Petty is a character or the person in the film who was interviewing all the interviewed subjects in this film, because the original the concept is that he got money to do a movie about an actual case regarding a peeping Tom in Washington, D.C. Now, unfortunately, he was unable to get any interviews with the actual person who was the peeping Tom, because in reality, I am doing the air quotes, in reality, this peeping Tom had been recording his neighbors for an unspecified amount of time, but he had tons and tons of videotapes.
191 videotapes.
Yeah. So, but when this all came out in the public, the people in the community did not want this footage to be showcased in a actual.
Yeah, I would have freaked out too if I had been a victim of this. It would have been very hard to. When they found, he says in there, when they found out that they would have to actually display the footage.
Yeah, they dropped all charges.
Dropped all the charges. Yeah,
he dropped all the charges, and he was set free, and he went to live back in the same place that he was before. Now, when J.T. Petty goes to meet this person or try to get an interview with this person refuses. But he had already spent most of the money making the movie already. So we had to come up with an idea.
They had to come up with another idea.
So what you're watching is the other ideal that comes into play, and where he's interviewing, and you're never 100% quite sure if some of these interviews aren't fabricated or they're 100% actual interviews.
Yeah, you really don't know. Yeah,
a lot of these people are just doing their own. They're playing themselves, except for the sections that we know are fake. They're actors playing characters.
His expert. He's got some like a real professor in here. Carol J. Clover is a real person who is also commenting on the films, and these are actual people that talk about films and that sort of thing professionally.
Yeah, most of them are real. The people with August Underground are all real. The people with Debbie D is real.
Debbie D, I was going to say.
Toe tag people, they're all real people.
Yep,
he literally went out there and grabbed a lot of these.
And I think the footage from the
convention,
the convention you went to, that's a real one. Yeah. I think that's
it looks like a real chiller convention. Like,
yeah,
he went. J.T. Petty, in theory, went to a chiller convention and got like the full idea of what he wanted to do with this movie from that.
And he did interview a couple of the directors that we see in here. Were legit. Bill Zabub and Fred Vogel are both actual underground directors that he met at this convention and got him to participate.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I originally saw this in 2006, because I saw this when it originally came out, because I knew.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
When I knew who J.T. Petty
I was not familiar with this until you told me about it, so I had no idea.
Well, I'd seen it once, and I never really saw it again after that.
Yeah, I've
seen all of his other movies because I followed his career. I mean, he's one of those directors who just doesn't have a very big output.
Yeah.
So whenever he came out with a new film, I'd always watch it.
Yeah, it's got about 6 or 8 films, I guess.
Yeah. So I've seen all of his films. His relevant films. But this was always the weirdest one because it was, to me, like a found footage movie.
I think it's the subject matter too. That probably got me a little queasy.
Really?
When I realized, I'm pretty open to a whole lot of things, but the whole snuff thing disturbs me a little bit, and the violence to women doesn't do anything for me at all. I have real problems with that. So this is, a lot. I mean, misogyny, extreme. It's misogyny on steroids, and that's probably the biggest problem I have with this movie is I know there's people out there that love that stuff, and these directors that are making it were for real. That's the kind of stuff they make. But he's got one fake director in here where we will whose career we so pretty much follow.
Yeah.
Through about half the film, but he's actually an actor. He's a comedian, a local comedian up there from that area. His name is Eric Marcizak. Plays a director by the name of Eric Post, who's into some really weird stuff. So that gave me some problems personally. Just it was really hard to watch this movie.
So for me, it's a little different because I know the company's toe tags and August Underground. So I was familiar with all of that, and which is funny. I'm familiar with their company.
Yeah,
I've actually never seen any of the August Underground and toe tags movies before. I have seen what is the equivalent of the Japanese films that came out in the 70s and 80s that are very similar and or more extreme than what these companies did in that time period. Now, I've seen lots of those. Like, I've seen some of the guinea pig movies. I've seen some of the really extreme freaking movies out there. There's a whole section for the Japanese films. I can't recall the name of them right now, but I've seen, Entrails of a Virgin and
Oh, jeez.
I've seen these films before.
Yeah, I mean, it surprised me a little bit because I got very heavy into French horror, which is some pretty gruesome things.
That
like Frontiers and I'm trying to think, Martyrs and some of those. And there's another big one I can't think of the name of it right now that dealt with some very violent issues and some very gruesome type things. This one sort of almost borderline human centipede type material, which just did nothing for me at all. I couldn't. Well, I got through all of Human Centipede, but I couldn't. I never gone back and watched it again or any of the. It was just like, oh man, why did I watch this movie? I watched it only because a buddy of mine had sent me a copy of it and said, "You're not going to believe this movie." You just, and I wrote him back saying, "Yes, I don't believe this movie. I can't believe I watched this thing." This one sort of left me with that kind of feeling.
Really?
Yeah, it just disturbed me.
See, I can understand the subject matter of the movie itself.
Well, that's what disturbed me more than anything else was the subject matter.
Because, like I was telling you, I had to look up the two movies, the Entrails of a Virgin and Entrails of a Beautiful Woman, and these are from the 80s for Japanese films. Now, Japanese films in the 80s, they had this extreme horror aspect.
I knew they did, but I didn't see any of them. It just, I mean, I'd heard about them, I'd read about them in some film books or film magazines or whatever. It was just like, I'm just not going to go there. It doesn't sound like something I could really, watch. They are like what is described in the movie from like Beelzebub and some of the other characters. This type of underground cinema is an acquired taste for a specific market. Now, that I have seen many of these films from foreign films. I've yet to see, like I said, any of the August Underground or the Toe Tags films, but I've seen I don't think I've seen any of their movies.
Nah, but I know their movies. But I've seen Necromantic 1 and 2. I've seen the Entrails of a Beautiful Woman, and I've seen the Guinea Pig film. So I've seen other films that are just as as risque, as controversial, as crazy movies, because I know that whole genre, subgenre.
I know there's a lot of people into that stuff. I mean, it's I've just never understood it, and I'm not being critical of it, folks. It just from a personal side, there are some things that just don't get me emotionally, except they will get me queasy or whatever. Just like, I just don't care to watch that stuff.
They're not supposed to get you emotionally.
I know, that's the whole idea.
Like Beelzebub says in the movie, he's not a filmmaker. He is someone who does something for a completely commercial aspect.
He's right. Yeah.
I think that the ones that I watched, the ones I've mentioned, have a little bit more style to them. As if you've heard of the necromantic films, which have to do with necrophilia and stuff like that, there's a lot more style contained in those German.
Yeah, that's stuff that's just like, I really don't even want to.
Well, yeah, but yeah. The subject matter is very much like Human Centipede. Once you tell someone, there's certain people who's like, whoa, I don't want to see no humans, but the ass, the mouth, what? I don't want to see that.
That's right. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, you're describing me
now. And Sandman, J.T. Petty's film, kind of does a deep dive into that.
Oh, he does. No, he does. He gets right into it.
Yeah. It's purposeful because he's going into this world in which he's not accustomed to.
Yes, right.
But he's trying to find out why other people are. Like he goes to the Chiller convention, not knowing what he's going to get into, and that's what introduces him to the Eric character. Who is the person who's been doing the series of movie called the S&M Man.
The S&M Man, or
I'm going to call it the way he calls it. He calls it S&M Man in the movie.
He does, yeah.
So this Eric is a character that J.T. Petty becomes fascinated with because of the way his movies are, and they're very voyeuristic, like a Peeping Tom, which
and we see him stalking a couple of people in the documentary, or that part of the documentary. I mean, this guy, he comes off as a really, really bizarre guy.
But he thinks he's a filmmaker.
Yes, he thinks he's an artist. Yeah,
and that's where the parallels to the movie Peeping Tom come into play. Have you seen Peeping Tom, by the way?
I love that film. Yes, I do love that film.
So Peeping Tom is a stylistically brilliant movie.
Yes, it is. Never seen it. It was. I mean, I was well into college before I had the opportunity to see it because it got banned.
It was hard
shown anywhere. I mean, it was banned in England. It had some showings in the United States, but TV didn't get it for the longest time until really heavy into the cable era, where they loosened the restrictions on it a little bit. But yeah, I was almost like 20 before I saw that film.
I probably saw it within the last 15 years for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really
I finally found it. I finally found it. So,
it's still hard to find.
I think it was Criterion or something.
Criterion. That was one that I actually have a digital copy of that.
Yeah.
One.
So what happens is Peeping Tom, which destroyed the career of Michael Powell, who was a brilliant filmmaker. If you've seen any of his other movies, that one was a real far cry from his other movies.
Yes.
But it was a brilliantly produced and executed movie. But
and I know the subject matter is similar to what these guys are trying to do, but it doesn't hit me the same way. I don't know why. And it may be because watching his film, Powell's film, I know the people really didn't get hurt.
Yes, it's a film. But
watching these guys in this movie, I don't know that, especially when he deals with Beelzebub, supposed to be.
Yeah.
And they say, "Is that your real name?" He says, "Well, when I get checks with that name on it, I get to cash them." So
exactly.
And then Fred Vogel, whatever, and even the way they portray this Eric guy, and you see some of the stuff being shot, and you wonder, are these women really getting hurt? Because you don't know.
You don't know.
And I think that was the most disturbing part about it to me.
It is. And that's
it didn't seem like acting. It seemed like he was just getting these women that were willing to be abused in any way by him for this movie. I mean, a couple of the scenes didn't even have dialogue. I mean, it was just
they had,
like one was a woman that was all bound and gagged and sort of hopping as best she could through a wooded area. And a guy just lets her go, and then all of a sudden comes out of nowhere, and you don't know if it's simulated rape or whatever, and kills her. And I mean, that's what it's supposed to show, and you don't really know, So they're hinting like, okay, is this really a snuff film or is it just a simulated? And it was like, oh, wait a minute, Either way, I don't want to see that.
So we got a little ahead for anyone who's never seen S.
Yeah, I know. I jumped the gun, but I guess this film drew more emotions out of me than a lot of movies have. So it's like I just found it very disturbing.
Well, so at the Chiller convention, J.T. Petty comes up with this. He meets the Eric,
yeah,
who has a series of films called S&Man. Now, each one of these films, and it's a series of 12 when it starts off. I think it's a series of 12 when it starts off.
Yes, it was 12. Yeah,
focuses on a different person. They're sequels only in name, but in aesthetic, because it's essentially a person following one particular woman.
It's just a different victim every one, yeah.
And same thing happens at the end of every one of them.
It's the same story. Yeah, basically the same story. Yeah.
It's the exact same story. It's just a different person. It's bound, raped, and sometimes killed, sometimes not. We really don't always see that part because it's a slow buildup.
It's a very
footage from each one of the different movies, episode 1 to 12. But the concept is that when J.T. Petty is a documentary filmmaker who's trying to figure out, are these real actors?
Yeah,
it's a snuff film, because he keeps asking Eric to let him interview some of the people in the movie.
Yeah, that's the part that really gets creepy.
And Eric refuses to let him. Once Eric's done with the movie, he says he never talks to the actors, the people, the women.
But he did say, he says, well, I'll give them your information, and if they want to call you, they can. He sort of gives himself an out.
Yeah. He gives himself. But
when I hear that from 12 different people, it's like, something's not right here.
Yeah. But this whole process of JT going through and getting enamored by the Eric character, he falls down a rabbit hole.
Absolutely,
he falls down a rabbit hole, and he becomes in tuned with Eric and his filmmaking style and everything he does, and so he interviews Eric a lot throughout the film, as well as showcase to us, the audience, the footage from these episodes from S&Man. Now, throughout the whole movie, we're hearing these interviews from all the different people that he's interviewed, from Toe Tags to August Underground to the Professor. It's like he's intercutting these interviews to make a point of what the journey is with this Eric guy.
Even the owner of the place, the bar where they shoot a lot of this stuff, the Dinga's Den and Dinga's, what was it, Dingbats or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, you get a little bit of the Chiller footage. So you get a sense that he actually went there to get it, and he found this. Now, when he goes to Chiller, he doesn't actually know what he's going to find until he gets there. But
and I believe that. I mean, I believe that was a legit visit to an actual convention, and he really was going in cold and showing you what he came up with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'll give him that one, but it still rubs me the wrong way.
Well, because the film takes a really different turn when you
dark turn
when you start going into this underground film world where people don't need a distributor. They're distributing their own movies to the actual people who are going to watch them.
Yeah,
so they're not all, and so that's how they make their money, and they continue doing their own movies.
They're almost like custom made for clients.
They're custom made, yeah. So it becomes this underground world that he didn't know existed until he started going to Chiller and meeting and asking these people. And the farther he goes, the deeper he gets into this world, the more he learns. Like the Debbie D character, who is in some of Vogel's.
Vogel. Yeah, that he was sort of Vogel. Yeah, she was Vogel's girl.
She's like, oh, it's just a movie. They want me to be topless. Perfectly fine. I've always felt safe on Vogel's films.
Nothing bothered her at all.
Nothing bothered her. And so you get that sense that he's interviewing someone who is an actual actress who doesn't mind the types of movies she's in.
Yeah.
But she is already aware of the types of movies they are. And
I got to admit, I did research on her because I couldn't, and she is an actress and does just that. So she was playing herself.
So that most of all those people are, I think to be honest with you, I think the only thing that's actually like fabricated is the Eric story. I don't know how much of the facts.
Yeah, no, Eric's story is fabricated. Yeah, I mean, He's not a filmmaker. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
He's a stand-up comedian up in the Philadelphia area, and he's playing a guy that.
But in 2006, when I originally saw the film, I probably would have never looked any of that stuff up. To be honest with you,
no, I wouldn't have either. I didn't really do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have saw the movie and said, "Oh, wow, this is really crazy shit."
Yeah, I probably would have bought it. Yeah,
I probably would have bought it because I had already seen some of J.T. Petty's other stuff, and I wouldn't have thought, because it's not it's not a kind of a make believe type of thing.
Yes. Yeah.
He's actually going to these conventions, interviewing these people, and then you kind of, when you squeeze in Eric's story, you kind of get the impression that it's a real person and all that type of stuff, and not something that's been fabricated.
Yeah, I got to admit, this guy and his name really is Eric, but he was, as an actor, it's pretty damn good. I mean, I totally bought it. Totally bought.
Well, that's the thing. But that's one of the things the film does successfully. Is you buy into the whole concept. It's a touchy subject, and I think that's one of the big selling points for it. So I'm like actually glad I'm talking to someone like you who was like, "Whoa, this is maybe a little bit too extreme to me." We've never done any.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it it's left me in a very, very weird type feeling. I don't know. I just couldn't put my finger on it.
Well, that's the thing is, for everyone listening to the show, we've never done any films that were produced through Toe Tags or August Underground, and part of it is because I've never seen them, so I would never have like put them on our list of films to watch. That doesn't mean they won't ever get on our film to watch, but it takes a very distinct person to be able to watch these films.
Right. Now, there was another actress in here by the name of Michelle Glick who played a character by the name of Jasmine. And when I looked up some of her stuff, these aren't the kind of movies she does. She's done about 4 or 5 other movies. She's done horror films, but nothing quite this intense. So I have to assume then that sequence. Now, at the time, I didn't know if it was real or not. I was leaning towards the fact that with Debbie D, I was pretty convinced she was doing stuff for real, the way she was talking. Michelle, I'm not sure. I think she was playing a character in that. So, but it's really hard to tell.
It blurs those lines.
It does.
I guarantee you in 2006, when this movie came out, there was people who were taken in by the story, and the people who thought it was 100% real. I guarantee you that was the type of feeling that J.T. Petty was going with for the overall project, because it was something different.
Oh, it was different. Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a traditional found footage film, other than the fact that it's footage.
No. I mean, it's more. I mean, he tried to pass it off as a mockumentary type film or whatever.
And the thing I like about,
actually, he was trying to make it like a documentary. He wanted people to think it was an actual documentary.
Yes, that's the concept behind everything, and that's probably why so many people like created a new category for this film, and kind of it's somewhere in the middle because of kind of the aesthetics that he used.
Well, I mean, it was a fake. It was a fake documentary, but you can't really say the real parts of it were fake, because they weren't, because they were real people showing you the real things they do, and so he weaves that together so that you really don't know what's real and what's not real. And maybe that's the part that disturbed me the most about it. I don't know.
Well, the thing when we make things seem more, or when someone makes things that we think can't possibly be real seem more real, it makes it a little bit more disturbing.
That could be.
Yeah. I mean, think about Cannibal Holocaust. You're mixing in what could be actual found footage from a documentary crew that were killed by cannibals,
right?
And you're mixing it with an actual documentarian who's trying to figure out what happened to these people, and it was cleverly integrated into this movie.
That one, of course, I had a chance to meet the director and talk to him for quite a bit. But that was more, there was a story behind that had a lot to do with how we are as a society, and fame and fortune, and how TV people are, and it doesn't matter what subject matter is, as long as you get the ratings, we'll do anything. I mean, through that whole movie, every time I saw that movie, I never for once believed that it was real, even though it had real stuff in it. The animal stuff was truly real, and I had problems with that. But the rest of it, was really just not real at all. But he does such a good job of making you believe that.
So the reason why I bring it up is that people did think it was real.
Oh, and absolutely. Yeah.
That was the thing, is they had never seen that before in a movie until that movie.
Oh, no, it was a first.
And so, of course, we all know that was the infamous movie that Deodato was put on trial for killing the actors. He had to prove the actors were actually actors.
Yes.
And of course, when you mix in real animal mutilations with that, it didn't help his case at all. But
the animal mutilations really upset me more than anything else, and most people I know.
And that's the reason why it's hard to watch.
Fake that stuff. Yeah.
No, it's hard to watch.
It is,
especially when you know all that going into it. If you're someone that doesn't know all the controversy surrounding that movie,
right?
You can watch it and you're thinking that, oh, this is all fake, until someone tells you it's not. But like S&M Man, I mean, you're told by Eric that it's fake, but is it really fake? And you go down this rabbit hole where you have to know, is it?
Yeah, and that's something, I think that's probably what disturbed me the most. I didn't want to do that.
And
I didn't like the way it was manipulating me to do that, because I really didn't want to. But no, I mean, I know what you're saying. I mean, it's like, but it was like, it's just not an area that I care to play around with.
No, but for me, the film plays with those type of things. It
does, yeah.
He's interviewing people who produce films for a very specific audience to give them a very specific response. And sometimes it's people who love violence. Some people like Beelzebub mentions, they just like to jerk off to this stuff. They get sexual arousal from it.
Oh yeah,
things that people don't normally talk about in horror films. But
that's true.
It shows up a lot in body horror movies. It shows up a lot in...
That's true.
It shows up in a lot of movies. I mean, just look at the stuff that was in Society or David Cronenberg's Shivers, or, I mean...
Shivers is... Yeah. Wow.
Or the other one...
and that's one... I love that movie. I love Shivers. I'm good friends with Lynn Lowry, and we talk about that movie all the time. And I'm a big fan of David Cronenberg's.
And he deals with sex, sexuality. And,
he does a lot, and that works into almost all of his films.
Crash,
Videodrome,
it's all in there because those are the taboos that those are taboos to us as a species. Really, there are certain people who can embrace those.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like I will watch bizarre stuff and out there stuff like that, but this one just was different. I can't put my finger on it, but
it's odd because I would
left me in a weird place.
Well, it's the same as someone having watched I Spit on Your Grave, the original I Spit on Your Grave.
And again, that's another one of my favorites, and I'm good friends with Camille.
Really?
I got to know Camille very well.
Really? Oh, dude.
I met her at a convention, and we stayed in touch with each other quite a bit.
We got to talk about that one now. You put that one on the list.
Yeah, but I mean, that was like one of the first revenge pictures.
Yes.
Yes. Very, very extreme revenge picture.
It was an extreme revenge.
So I mean, there's stuff like that I don't really have any problems with. I don't know what it was with this one. I think because it was borderline snuff. Yeah. And it's like, that's just a subject I don't want to glorify, or it just doesn't need, there was a movie that came out in the 70s called Snuff Film that I never did watch. No. And I know it was all fake. I knew it was all fake. I mean, it was, it was just a movie about people that made snuff films, but it was like, I don't even want to go there. I really don't want to know what drives these people,
So,
because and that's just a personal choice. I would not tell anybody not to watch the movie, and I won't do it with this one either. It's just like, but I just that subject matter that's just one of those lines I don't cross.
No, it's good that you bring up Snuff, because that is a movie only remembered for what it was supposed to be and not the quality of the actual movie. Now, when I originally saw Snuff, which was only less than 10 years ago, because it was another hard one to find, but
it is hard to find. Yeah,
it was a film that had been talked about all the time in horror. I really, really hated the movie when I saw it. I thought, dude, what the hell? This movie sucks. It's horrible. It's junk. I had to read about it. I read about it in Devil's Advocate series, which is one of the most premier books on films. So they dissect a different film with each book. They did a book on Snuff, and I had to know why people saw this film as film worthy. Like,
I'm trying to remember back then, because I was like in college, or maybe just right about the time I was getting out of college when that one came out. I can't remember the exact year, but I'm pretty much an adult when that came out. And for some reason, the whole subject matter of snuff films, and all of a sudden we're in the news.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it didn't surprise me to say, okay, somebody's going to make a movie about it. But I can't remember what kicked that off. What got that going?
I probably like Faces of Death or the Mondo films. Who knows? I can't remember either.
I'm thinking more the Mondo films, because Faces of Death was more in the early 80s.
I don't know.
And Mondo, the first Mondo film was like late 70s. And that one might have been the one that kicked it off, because, then, I've seen Faces of Death, and that sort of left me feeling not too good. And there was a bunch of those that came out.
Yeah,
early days of video stores popping up, and those things flew out the door.
Yeah.
I think there had to be like 6 or 7 of them.
There's a whole series.
And then there was a special one that came out that dealt with of celebrities who were caught on camera dying. Like the Vic Morrow thing, how he got killed.
Yeah.
Because that was all on film when it happened, when the helicopter crashed on him and the 2 kids. And that was in a special one that just dealt with that. And the guy that killed himself on television during a news conference, he was a politician he was like a city councilman or something. And I think it was Minneapolis. And he was holding a press conference. He pulled out a 44 Magnum and blew his brains out right there, live TV. And some stations actually ran the footage. So there was, that became watching people die all of a sudden became a big thing in the early days of video.
I can't remember if that's part of the Traces of Death series, which I've never seen.
It might have been, but it was on a separate, it wasn't the Faces, because Faces of Death, they just had 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. But there was another one that came out that had the Vic Morrow one on it, and this guy, and
I've never seen those. They're still on my to watch list.
I remember talking to some of the video store people about that, and they said, "Yeah, we don't get it. These things, we can't keep these tapes on the shelves. They get rented all the time."
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with someone. This was before I even got into radio. About monster movies or something. They mentioned these in terms of horror. And I said, that's not horror, guys. Come on. That's a different category. All of that. You're watching people die live on tape or whatever, on film. And that's a whole different subject matter. It's just, I know for people it probably was curiosity, but still it's sick. It's just brutal stuff.
Well, like JT Petty goes into a deep dive and goes down the rabbit hole.
He does.
We have done that as well here already.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
that's kind of what I wanted to get into, because I saw Snuff and I had to know why people liked it. I couldn't get it out of my brain. That's why I bought the book. And the book is actually a very insightful analysis of Snuff.
Okay.
Not so much the actual merits of Snuff, but an analysis of its the way it came about, the film, the way it imposed on the audience and why it was so well remembered when it originally came out.
Yeah,
I found that fascinating. And I normally I wouldn't do a deep dive on a film I actually loved. For some reason, I tend to read the Devil's Advocate series does these for a lot of different films. But the ones I tend to read are the ones are films that I just have not like stuck with. For some reason they didn't do much for me when I originally watched them. So I had to find out why. Like I did, I was like J.T. Petty.
I understand. That makes sense. Yeah.
And I find those books very fascinating. I read them all the time. I think I can't remember. I'm reading one on I just started it, and it's oh my God, I can't think of the title for it now. Antichrist. Jesus.
Oh, okay.
Another film that's very, very taboo. Actually, it's like S&Man, it's a very taboo subject matter, and there's people who just don't want to watch that. It's that movie left me cold when I watched it, and I don't usually get that way with filmmakers' movies. So I decided I need to know more. I'm doing that J.T. Petty deep dive. I need to know more. I need to know why.
Yeah, okay.
It's that why thing. And I'm a filmmaker. I'm a film lover, and some movies I just don't understand why people like them.
Oh yeah, well I mean, and this is one of them, and the subject it's dealing with is. Any of those films that fall in the whole genre, yeah, I'm the same way. But I just can't dive into it.
So for everyone listening, and we did do a little bit of tangent, but we came back. The thing that drives the film more so than the actual interviews is this story of Eric and whether or not his S&Man videos are real.
Oh yeah, it's basically half the movie.
Or if they're snuff films, or what exactly they are. And as an audience member, you're watching it, and
because we see he actually does stalk them, and we don't really. And then there's a question: are these really willing participants or not? Especially with one in particular, that you have to wonder if she's really being tortured or not. That's the part that's rough.
And so when you're watching it, it is hard to watch, especially if you have an aversion for these type of subject matters.
Yeah.
Now, that when you first start watching S&Man, you may not think that you have an aversion to what's going to play out. But as you're watching it, you will either turn off the film or you'll get sucked in by the type of story that JT gets sucked into as he continues this.
The first time I just sort of zoned out, but I worked third shift and I'd watched this after I'd only had about 2 hours sleep on my day off. And I thought, okay, well, I mean, that's happened to me before.
Oh, okay.
But then, so I watched it again for a second time. And, but it was like, I came real close to almost turning it off. I said, no, I'm going to finish it out. Because if I'm going to talk about it, I want to, at least know what know that I did watch the movie. And so I'm the first guy to say, how can you be critical of a movie or whatever of a movie if you didn't see the whole thing? So I had to hold myself to that standard. I'm going to hold other people to it. I got to do it myself.
So everyone listening, don't think that I forced my guests to.
Oh, you didn't force me to. No, that's just a personal choice. That's that's a personal choice. So.
Yeah, and I put myself through a lot since I went to film school and decided and learned that there are so many outsider subgenres in the horror genre. It's one of the reasons why I find the horror genre so fascinating. Because the filmmakers who do these movies have tried and scraped the bottom of every little nook and crevice to highlight different aspects of what could be or couldn't be.
But let me ask you a question: Is this subject matter a subject of a genre of film, or is it just a film that deals with the psychosis of certain types of or certain segments of society?
I don't know.
I had a hard time saying that, but if it's,
I don't know if I can answer that. But I'm going to mention.
I think that's what bothers me. That's the hard part for me. On that one.
So with this film, which is very steeped into trying to make the audience believe that everything is real.
Yeah,
I'm going to reference the film that's actually referenced in this film itself, which is Henry: Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Which I liked. That was a movie I thought was a brilliant film.
But a lot of people found that extremely hard to watch because you're watching essentially.
Well, this is before Michael Rooker was famous.
It was before he was famous,
and I got to admit, the first time I saw it, I thought it was for real. At first, I wasn't sure, and then all of a sudden, I saw Rooker on some other stuff, and I went, "Oh, he was just an." But I really, therefore, that film was very effective in making you think that maybe this was for real.
Well, that and Tom Towles, who, and
the other guy, I had not seen him.
You've seen him now in tons of stuff,
of course, yeah, because he did all those films with Rob Zombie.
But the ideal for that movie, which is a really hard subject matter, because you're not watching a film about the innocent people. You're essentially being dragged along this journey of a guy who absolutely has no remorse for killing.
He is an honest to God serial killer, and this documentary guy, the documentary filmmaker, wanted to find out what it was like to be a serial killer.
Yeah, I mean,
the end of that movie is such a powerful ending, and so subtly done. I think that's what stuck with me every time I saw. I've seen the movie a couple of times.
Yeah,
but that's
I've seen both movies.
That's what
Henry
really stuck with me. Was the end of Henry. That was such a subtle ending and so powerful. I mean, it just kicked me right in the gut. But I mean, but it was like, wow, that incredible movie. I'm
going to mention another movie that takes the very similar idea, but to the extreme, and that's Behind the Mask.
I've not seen that one. No.
That one is, kind of a found footage movie where the camera crew is following an actual slasher serial killer. But
I take that back. I have seen that one. I just didn't recognize the title. I know the movie you're talking about.
Yeah,
that is a pretty good film.
Yes, yeah, but
it's a foreign film, isn't it? Okay, was this in America? I'm trying to remember. I may be confusing it with a foreign film that's similar. It was one that was like either made in Germany or Italy, and I can't remember. I've had a hard time finding it again. But I remember this a camera crew following, and they almost fall into the psychosis of this serial killer while they're following him.
What's funny
maybe it was the American one, but I just didn't recognize the title.
Well, this is the Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon, but you could have been also thinking about Man Bites Dog.
No, that's the one. Now that you say that title, that is the movie I was confusing with. Thank you. Man Bites Dog, which I thought was a very, very well made film.
Yes. That one I did not watch when it originally came out. I actually heard about that one through film class and then found it.
I happened to find it. I think it was on VHS first time I saw it. It was on home media. I didn't see it in the theater.
Yeah, but the way Leslie Vernon is done is very much like a regular film, despite the fact it's supposed to be a found footage footage. But it's funny. It's humorous. There is no humor in S&Man at all. It is dead serious.
No,
every person inside of it, except for probably Debbie D.
She's the best thing about the movie. I mean, she's the most interesting character in the movie. And she reminded me of some people that I know. Well, not because of what she does, but just her personality and she's about the most laid back person, and I keep thinking, this gal's not acting. She's being Debbie. She's being herself in this movie.
Well, the other thing you got to think about her character as opposed to all the other characters or people in this movie is that she embraces what she does for a living.
And absolutely. Yeah. It's her life passion, apparently.
And that aspect, it's her life passion because she wants to be an actress. She wants to be taken seriously. Yeah. And so that aspect of her personality makes us empathize with her because we know that the only place she's going to find a real career is in these type of movies, and she's never going to get out of it. Like, we're watching this and
it's almost like people are doing porn.
Yeah, they're stuck.
You're stuck. You're not going to. There have been a few that have gone legit, but it's very rare.
It's very rare.
Very rare.
And so you can empathize with her, but for the most part, for everyone else in this film, you don't.
Yeah. It
is a hard movie to watch when you start thinking about what happens to all these people, what they do, what they do for a living. Beelzebub does it for money. He says it straight out.
No, he makes no bones about it. Yeah.
They're providing a service to people who want titillation, sex, or they want violence, death, and that's what they're doing. They're providing a service, which is very different than the actual movies outside of this one that J.T. Petty has directed.
Yeah.
This is a far cry, so it seems like a very odd choice for him to do it, but it seems like there was like a curiosity with this type of film. It started off innocently enough by doing an actual documentary, and it morphed. It changed into something else. He changed into something else as he was making this film, and that's what.
Oh, I definitely felt that.
Yeah. And that's what I find fascinating about the movie itself. I liked the movie when I originally saw it. I did not see as much as I see in.
And maybe that's the thing I find most disturbing about the film is because it does deal with how he gets pulled into this, and in the back of my mind there could be something telling me don't get into this film too much because you might get pulled into the same psychosis that you're whether it's a psychosis or not. I mean, I don't know. But, I mean, it's just like, I don't want to get pulled into that world.
Yeah.
I mean, there's other films that have dealt with that. 8mm.
8mm is one I was about
deals with that. I'm trying to think. I know there's a couple of others in a loose sense.
Well, 7 does it.
Hardcore does.
7 does.
7 does it.
You get.
But I was just, when they get into the snuff aspect of this film genre here or whatever, it was just like, and there's conventions that deal with this kind of material. It's sort of like, I don't want to go there. I mean, I just don't want to get even tempted to be pulled into that way of thinking. And then maybe that's the part of it that sort of, it's got me hands off a little bit on S&M, man. I don't know. I just know, boy, it left me feeling awfully weird.
Well, no, I guarantee you, people when they first watched the original Hellraiser by Clive Barker also had that very similar type of feeling because of the S&M and bondage ideology and the.
That's funny. That film didn't get me like that,
but it did get a lot of other people.
I loved that movie when I saw it for the first time, and part of that was, and folks, I don't want you to think I'm a total weirdo here, but it was just like if you grow up a monster kid and you're watching a lot of monster movies and scary movies and that sort of thing. You get numbed, and you get to the point where most of the ones you go see, you go, come on, thrill me a little bit here. And Hellraiser had such a unique subject matter at the time. Now it's been done to death, but at the time, I remember just sitting there with my mouth wide open going, wow, I've never seen anything like this. And I walked out of there just blown away by, I want to know more about this Clive Barker guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got something unique. It really got me. I mean, it was like, wow. You do that. There are other films like that. Event Horizon did that to me when I saw it because it went places I wasn't anticipating.
Yeah.
But this one, it was just sort of, it was more like, I may not have anticipated where this film was going, but I don't want to go there.
Well, that's the interesting thing of having you watch the film. See, I'd already seen it when it originally came out, but you hadn't seen it.
No, I had not. I'd not even heard of it.
So your
But then again, I was in a position where I was keeping myself away from this kind of stuff anyway. But I mean, no, I really had not heard of it. But I knew it was, in the found footage genre. But when you put it on your list and said, "Hey, check this one out," for us to do, and I was like, "Okay, I'll try anything new."
Well,
I had not heard of it at all, and I didn't do any research on it, which is what I tend to do. I tend to watch the movie first, and then I research it, just so I can get an initial reaction to it, which is what you're getting today on the show. This is pretty much how I reacted to it before I even did any research on it at all.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, some films that we talk about here are going to be like that. Actually, I think this is probably the closest to this type of genre film that we've done so far.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a straight serial killer type found footage thing or something like that, or maybe some supernatural type thing from the title. I just couldn't make the connection on the title. Now I can understand the title completely.
Yeah.
But, so, I mean, it was an interesting experience. I'll put it that way.
So that's good to remember. An interesting experience. Yeah. So, Jim, do you have any? Because we're at the end of our program for the day, but
yeah.
Do you have any final words about S&Man?
Not really, no. I think I've said just about everything I could say about it.
Yeah.
As far as the experience, yeah.
So for everyone who's
wow, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody not to watch it, but it's like, wow, it's just someplace I don't want to go.
No, it's very valid. I like that you have a different outlook on this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
The fact is, I've never discussed this movie with anybody ever. This is not a movie that's ever came up in conversation, literally ever.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I could see why it would.
So it's eye-opening to hear someone else whose opinions I respect.
I would like to hear other people's opinions on it too.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious too.
And that's the thing about movies like this, and like we're gonna, if you audience members, if you stick with us, we've got lots more risque movies coming up next year or so, because that's one of the things that we're kind of delving a little bit into, some of these more outside the box films that a lot of horror fans just haven't actually seen.
True.
Or they haven't heard of, or
haven't even touched any of the French stuff yet.
We did High Tension. I think that's all we've done so far.
Did you do High Tension? Oh, that was one of the other ones I was trying to think of.
We did High Tension.
But there was a smattering of them that came out that were very easy to find. Now they are, but I mean, I remember I found Frontiers and then Martyrs right behind it, and High Tension, and there were still a couple of others.
I saw most of all those when they originally came out.
Yeah, I mean, when they became available in the United States, I jumped on them.
Yeah. And some of those are on our list. We're going to be exploring a lot of these different things.
I'll have to look. I haven't looked at your whole list there, but I didn't realize you'd done High Tension already.
Oh yeah. But some of the other ones are on there too. When people mention them, and that's one of the things. Like, audience, when you watch our show, you leave us comments based on the films that you'd like us to also touch upon.
Yeah,
we will. But that being said, my opinion of this is very different because I'm a fan of J.T. Petty. The director. I do think this is outside his normal film. So if you've seen his other films like Soft for Digging or The Burrowers or Hellbenders, this is a much different experience than those. I do think that it is an acquired taste. I don't think that someone who's reserved and has no interest in this type of film at all should watch it unless you're just really curious or you're a fan of the directors. It is really outside the box, and that's what makes it different. It's what makes it interesting. Yeah. I'm not going to, but that's my 10 cents on this one. I hope to get to. So with J.T. Petty's films, we've done The Burrowers, and we've done this one now. I'm going to get to all of his movies.
Okay. I'll have to listen to your show on The Burrowers because I was not familiar with J.T. Petty.
We'll have to get to all of them because the thing is, I like as an independent filmmaker, I like the fact that he comes up with many different types of ideals.
Yeah.
Even like his mimic Sentinel, I thought was really good. I thought that was a different ideal for this whole thing. I thought it was really cool. Don't know if we're going to get around to doing that one anytime soon, but we might. But that being said, we like to rate the film.
I knew you were going to say that.
Between 1 star and 5 star. 1 star being poor, 5 stars being amazing. Where in the spectrum, Jim, do you place S&Man?
In all honesty, it's a personal choice. I got to get a 1, but I know that doesn't really reflect maybe what some people would think of the quality of the film or whatever. It's just personally, it's just one that's going to be very low on my list. Just, I mean, how could people not listen to the show and say, well, how could you say all those things and give it like a 2 or a 3? It's like, no, I can't really, so I've got to give it a 1.
No, you give it. Yeah. No, that's the thing about us. We're being honest. We give movies what we think.
Yeah, that's right.
I give the movie 3.5 stars. I liked it when I first saw it, and I like it more now because I am more familiar now with August Underground, Toe Tags, and that whole underground world of those type of movies. In 2006, I was not nearly as immersed in those films. I hadn't seen a lot of those Japanese films yet. I hadn't seen Entrails of Aversion or Intro.
Yeah, and I've had no inkling to get into that. I love Japanese films, but that genre. I'm not really.
I've seen those. I've now watched Nazi exploitation movies. I've seen nunsploitation movies.
I've seen Nazi exploitation films from the 70s and stuff,
Yeah.
and I watched them at drive-ins, and I loved Ilsa and all those, but
I've only seen those within the last 5 years. I saw.
Who knows? You know, it's funny what appeals and doesn't appeal to an individual.
In 2006, I hadn't seen all those. I hadn't explored all those different genres. I have now. I have a greater appreciation.
Oh, it's a huge cult genre, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And one day, we will get around to doing some nunsploitation and some Nazi exploitation.
Yeah, I got to admit, I'm not into the non-exploitation, but with the Nazi stuff, I did. Yeah, that was.
I've only seen a handful of them. I can't say I like a lot of them.
Well, yeah, I was going to say I've only seen a handful, but that was about all that was available. You know, but I was in college and high school or whatever. They were playing at the drive-in theaters. And, you know, I had to get to be at least around 17 before I could even go see them because you know they're all rated R, you know, or whatever. I think some were rated X at the time.
Probably in the 70s.
And when they first got released.
But it has been very interesting talking with you, Jim, about this movie.
It's been an interesting discussion. Yeah, I was not sure where it was going to go when you said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do tonight." So
yeah. Like I said, I've always wanted to talk to someone about some of these. There's some movies on our list.
Yeah,
that, I've always been curious to know what other people thought of them.
Yeah,
and that's one of the reasons why we do the show. We not only talk about the films that we actually love and those that we also may hate, but we try to do the ones that most people aren't talking about. A lot of great episodes of movies I've never talked to anyone about. And it's been fun. And everyone who's listening, if you like, follow, share, subscribe, you'll be able to hear more of us talking about a lot of these different types of films because we've got a lot of great titles coming up. And we've done a lot of great titles already. So hopefully you'll check out some of our previous episodes as well. So with that, I want to thank you, Jim, for joining us on Conversations in Horror. It has been a pleasure talking with you about.
I'll try to get some sleep tonight.
From all of us here at Something Wicked Entertainment, I want to wish you a pleasant day. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, do that thing you do with your favorite podcast on your favorite podcast app, Spotify and YouTube. Subscribe so you never miss an episode. Regular episodes are every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Specially themed episodes usually come out on Mondays at 8 a.m. Make sure to check out our sister podcast, Some Conversations in 4Color, which is on our Patreon page. It's an exclusive podcast, so you have to be a follower or subscriber to have access to that. But you also get access to many different things that we do on there exclusively. So make sure to be a follower or subscribe. With that, I want to wish you all a great day. I will see you on the next episode of Conversations in Horror. Have a good day. Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka. All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken Lighthouse Pictures.